Am I the a-hole for telling my deadbeat dad I don't care about him or his family in front of his kids? My dad abandoned me when I, 16 male, was 2. But I remember what it was like without him and how crappy life was when he was dodging child support. The only reason he started paying was because his license got suspended and he was screwed without it. I think I was 7 when we started getting that money and he had to pay the backdated support too. When I was 10, I had to take a DNA test because he questioned whether I was really his or not. At the time, we had no idea why, just that I had to take the test. We later found out it was because he had gotten married and had a couple of kids, and he wanted to focus his resources on them instead of me. He tried to get the child support reduced, and even tried to stop paying again, but the consequences would have been much harsher if he had continued, so he started paying again. 2 years ago, he moved back here with his family. He ignored me and I ignored him. His wife approached me and my mom a couple of times, but she wasn't someone either of us wanted to talk to, so we didn't. I saw him with his kids a few times, mostly when I was walking by the elementary school or if I went to the mall with friends. He's playing the role of a good dad to them right now, or at least that's how it looks. Does it bother me? Kinda. I think it's crappy that he moved back here, instead of staying the heck away after abandoning me over and over again. I'm in therapy and I know I don't ever want a relationship with him or any of his family, including his kids. That's something therapy has helped me fully realize and work on. I won't be a prick to his kids if they approach me, but I'm not going to give a relationship any chance. I'm an only child in my heart, and that's not about to change unless my mom has more kids. The current issue is something I don't have all the details on, but his kids recently found out that I'm also his child. They wanted to know me. He tried to downplay it by saying he just found out and wasn't sure if I'd be in their family, but they keep talking about it. His in-laws are coming into town in a couple of weeks, and he and his wife know the kids will mention me. His in-laws won't like the fact that he abandoned his child. He used a different word. But he abandoned me, so I'll use that. Now he wants me to come to dinner at his house and act like we all just found out. He said he could deal with what the kids wanted after, but he didn't want his in-laws to know the truth. He approached me at the mall to ask me to do this. I told him no and started to walk away. He had his kids with him. I need to mention that. I didn't interact with them and I hardly interacted with him. Like I said, I was walking away, and then he told me I owed him that much and that he was paying for me, which was more than most dads like him do. He said I could do him and his family this one thing. I told him I don't care about him or his family, and that he should leave me the heck alone like he has for the last 14 years. Then I moved faster so he couldn't keep talking and annoying me. When his wife found out, she went to mom at work. My mom works at a popular store in town, and she had seen his wife there a lot. His wife told my mom she needed to teach me to react better in front of kids, and that I didn't need to be cruel. My mom got mad about the encounter and told me I did nothing wrong. But I guess I do feel kinda bad for saying it in front of the kids. Not that I want to seek them out and apologize or anything, because I don't want to engage at all. But am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He brought the kids with him on purpose to use as leverage. So it's on him, not you. You tried to walk away and not involve the kids, but he wouldn't let you. Good for you for staying strong. It was a manipulation tactic. So was him cornering the kid on his own, in public. It's also a manipulation tactic to show up at his mom's job to shame her. This could have been an email request, but I guess you can't get the emotional manipulation they're looking for over email. I think you should go, say hello to the in-laws, and tell them that he's a deadbeat who abandoned and neglected you for 14 years, and that you're only there because he demanded you be there to make him look good. Then turn to him and tell him he's a pathetic excuse for a human being, and that there couldn't be a worse father. Then leave. Full nuclear. I endorse this, but feel like it will do more damage than good for OP. Not the a-hole. Your dad abandoned you, dodged child support, questioned whether you were even his kid, and only started paying when legally forced to. Now he wants you to lie for his convenience? Absolutely not. You don't owe him or his family anything, and his entitlement is ridiculous. The fact that he said you owe him because he paid child support something he was legally and morally obligated to do, just proves how little he actually cares. As for his kids, yeah, it sucks that they had to hear that. But that's on him, not you. He made those choices, and now he has to deal with the consequences. You were put in an unfair situation and just spoke the truth. You don't have to play nice for a man who abandoned you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my half-siblings and telling my dad I'm not his backup mom? For context, my 19 female parents divorced when I was 12 because my dad cheated on my mom with a younger woman, Emily, now 31 female. It was a messy, ugly divorce, and my relationship with my dad has been strained ever since. He married Emily pretty quickly, and they now have 3 kids under 5. Ever since the kids were born, he has been constantly asking me to help out with babysitting. I live with my mom and go to college full-time while working part-time to cover my expenses. Despite that, my dad calls me almost every week, begging me to come over and bond with my siblings by babysitting. He says Emily is overwhelmed and needs a break. I honestly don't care. I never wanted siblings, and I'm still not over the fact that his affair blew up our family. I've told him I'm busy with school and work, but he keeps guilt-tripping me, saying things like, family takes care of family. Last weekend, he called again, practically demanding I babysit because Emily had a mental breakdown. I lost it. I told him, I'm not your backup mom. You chose to have more kids, and that's not my responsibility. He got quiet and then said, I thought you were more mature than this, before hanging up on me. Now, both he and Emily have been sending me messages, calling me selfish and saying that I'm abandoning my family. My grandma even chimed in, saying I should help my father in his time of need. But I feel like he's just trying to dump his problems on me because he made bad choices. My mom thinks I did the right thing, but now half my family is mad at me. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help and saying what I did? Not the a-hole. When Emily tells you that you're selfish for abandoning your family, you can tell her not nearly as selfish as you and my dad were for breaking up my family by lying, cheating, and having an affair. She's got some nerve. Oh, and Dad, Grandma just volunteered to look after the children because she believes family should help in times of need. Came here to say this, he has some nerve lecturing you on family responsibility. I would tell him that he learned how to treat family from him. He needs to be forced to his own bad choices. Seriously? He says family takes care of family, while he blew up his entire family by cheating? Don't be their little Cinderella. You have no obligation. I have a dad who tried to guilt-trip me into taking care of all their animals, while he and his new family went on several vacations, and I was not once asked to join, not even if I paid for myself. When I finally mustered up the courage to say no, he threatened to euthanize my favorite dog. I called my therapist and had an emergency meeting, and she told me to stand my ground. So I did. He did not go through with it, but he cut contact with me for several years as punishment. Not the a-hole, obviously. People say family first can buzz right off. He cut contact. Was it a punishment or a relief? In hindsight, it was a relief. It really showed how little he cared, and that made it easier to keep away when a few years later, he was left by his wife and came crawling back like nothing had happened. Lol. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law to get over herself and stop trying to one-up us? My 29 female wife, 27 female, and her sister, 30 female, got pregnant around the same time. The babies are the first of a new generation on their side of the family, so everyone was excited. Sister-in-law was further along, but my wife ended up giving birth at 32 weeks. Plus, she had some complications that kept her hospitalized. My nephew was born 2 weeks later at full term. Apparently, sister-in-law resented having her thunder stolen and felt like she and her new baby weren't getting enough attention. She keeps making these comments like she's trying to one-up us. First, she said how sorry she was that my wife missed the golden hour because they had to take our son to the NICU. This upset my wife, since during her hospitalization, she was often too sick to visit the NICU, and she already feels terrible about missing skin-to-skin contact in those first few weeks. After we started bringing our son to family gatherings, sister-in-law started comparing the boys, saying how much bigger and more alert her son looked compared to ours, and how he had hit more milestones. Last weekend, we had lunch at my in-laws. My wife and I were excited to tell everyone that our son laughed for the first time earlier that day, 3.5 months old. Mother-in-law and father-in-law were having a good time watching the video when sister-in-law made another comment about how her son did that a month ago. I don't know why, but that was the last straw. I had just about had it. I told sister-in-law that she's pathetic for trying to one-up a freaking baby, that her full-term son wasn't special for being more developed than a preemie, that she should get the heck over not giving birth to the first grandbaby. Needless to say, this ruined lunch, and my wife's family is mad. I admit I was harsh with my words and tone, and this was the first time I had confronted her family like this. Up until now, we had each handled our own relatives, but these comments upset my wife and ticked me off. So am I the a-hole for being so harsh and not staying in my lane? Not the a-hole. How did your wife respond? Happy that I spoke up, because she was having a hard time telling her sister it makes her feel like crap, but feels bad that they're mad. Then you're good. You stood up for your wife and child and she appreciated it. It would be helpful if she outwardly had your back to them as well. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law is a grown woman competing with a preemie. That is embarrassing behavior, and someone needed to call her out. Your wife has already been through hell and back with a traumatic early birth, NICU stays, and recovery. And instead of supporting her, this woman is out here making passive-aggressive jabs about things your wife already feels heartbroken about? Absolutely not. And the worst part? She's acting like her full-term baby is some kind of prodigy, when, newsflash, that's just how development works. No one is shocked that her baby hit milestone sooner, because he literally had a 2-month head start. That's not an achievement, that's basic biology. Your reaction was warranted because this wasn't a one-time slip-up. This was a pattern of nasty behavior that your wife has been dealing with for months. And instead of anyone else in the family checking her, they've been letting her act like a jealous brat. And now they're mad at you because you finally said what everyone else was thinking? Too damn bad. Maybe they should have spoken up sooner, and you wouldn't have had to. You weren't harsh. You were correct. She needs to get over herself and stop trying to compete with a baby who fought just to be here. Sister-in-law's behavior is gross. When her little prince falls behind his actual peers, you and your wife can secretly giggle. Seriously though, I hope your wife and little one are recovering and improving as expected, and will pull through all of this with time. Good for you for defending your family when, clearly, no one else could be bothered. At a minimum, her parents really needed to step in, not the a-hole. Justified a-hole here. Sure, you could have handled it differently, but that might not have stopped the crappy behavior. You had justifiably had enough and said what needed to be said. Your sister-in-law will likely think twice before making any more comparisons out loud, which needed to happen. Who knows why she is doing it? She might be postpartum. She might just be jealous. None of that needs to concern you. You did what was right for your family, and you put the bully in her place. Bravo! Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my sister with her children and telling her she chose her crappy life so now she has to deal with it? When my sister, 26 female, and I, 24 female, were kids, we hated each other. My sister was very hard to get along with, and as a result, she never had any friends. She's the type of person who always thinks she's right and can never apologize or admit when she's wrong. As an adult, she still has no friends. She decided to drink the Treadwife Kool-Aid. She met her husband in college, got pregnant, and dropped out. They have 4 children under the age of 8, and the youngest is quadriplegic due to spinal damage and a birth defect. I just finished law school and I'm starting my career. My husband already has an established career and we're dinks. We don't intend on having any children. My sister has historically talked down to us at family events. She says we don't even understand what we're missing out on, that we'll never know what true and unconditional love is, etc. Very condescending, as always. Lately, she and her husband have been fighting. Apparently, per my mother, he has never let her access his income. He gives her cash for groceries. The bills and everything else have always been in his name. Apparently, he's been cheating too. My sister asked me to watch her kids on the weekends so she could save up money to evaluate her options, aka leave her husband. When she came to me and asked, I said, "But isn't being a traditional wife your calling? You've told us this several times." "You must have forgotten, but traditional wives aren't supposed to work." I kind of laughed as she explained that maybe being a trad wife isn't for her after all. Eventually, I just shut her down and told her that she picked this life. The life she has always insisted is so superior to mine. Now it's time for her to learn to deal with the problems that come with it. My parents can't watch her kids because my dad works on an oil pipeline, and my mom is already too old to be working the hours she is. Our other relatives don't live close enough to help. She also asked my parents to move in with them, but my dad shut it down. He can't really stand her kids. Am I the a-hole? My family thinks I am. I had never heard the term dink until I started my current job. Some guy was asking about my family, and I explained that my wife and I don't have kids. He goes, "You guys are dinks." And just before I could be like, "Your mom's a dink," he said, "Double income, no kids." That could have ended awkwardly. Haha. That's why the couple on Doug with no kids were named the Dinks. It was supposed to seem like their last name, but had a double meaning. That's actually where I learned about the term dinks. A friend told me she loved that the Dinks' last name was a joke, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And she explained that it meant dual income, no kids. A quick Google search tells me North Carolina has a divorce from bed and board option, which allows for a court-ordered separation to help initiate that 1-year separation period. Adultery, which you mentioned, is a qualifier. Google also tells me that North Carolina allows a parent to file for custody and support even while married. You say you're a lawyer, or at least a JD, and you can't even put 5 minutes into basic research for her? Come on, do better. As for money, again, credit cards exist. She can apply for one without his knowledge and, even with a low credit limit, could afford an Uber to go to court, meet with an attorney, open up her own bank account, etc. She doesn't have any proof of his affair. He admitted to it in passing, but there are no texts or anything. I'm not sure if they would qualify for that. I don't work in family or divorce law, so I'm by no means an expert. I just know that it would not be easy or realistic for a divorce. Also, I don't think taking out a credit card to rack up debt is a smart choice. She won't have any way to immediately pay it off or even make the minimum payments and will likely just end up tanking her credit. With ruined credit and a long wait list for Section 8 housing here, I don't think she would be able to find somewhere to live. It's just not looking like a great choice overall.